What is up, you guys? Combat Wombat here, and today we're going to be reacting to a video here from Military History Visualized, and this video is going to be regarding urban combat, specifically room breaching and clearing of the U.S. Army in 2011. This is going to be from FM 3-06.11. So this is combined armed operations in urban terrain. The only reason I'm reacting to it is I just want to see if this guy actually was able to kind of learn from this and explain it in good detail, um, or what, you know what I mean? And I just figured it would be a cool react to do, it'd be something different. So we'll see what happens.
2011. Needless to say, don't try this at home, because these principles are made for entering someone else's home, not yours. Since we got that flank covered,
So to caveat, obviously don't try this at home. More likely you're not going to be able to try it at home regardless, because most of the time with CQB operations it requires 4 to 6 people. But you can do what we call glass boxing it. If you do, say you're some teenager watching this or some shit, and you and your buddies are wanting to play Nerf or Airsoft or whatever, paintball, and you want to be all milsim about it, you can do what is called the glass box method. And essentially, you have no physical room or house or something you can clear. So you literally, no shit, just take some rocks, build 4 corners, and boom, you have an imaginary house because it works, or an imaginary room because it works. Why do I say it works? Because this is literally how I learned CQB from my senior drill sergeant when I went through OSIT and everything, and even how we literally practiced when I got to my unit. We did what's called the glass box method. But in all seriousness, do not preferably try this at home. Please don't. Please don't. Please don't.
let's look at the challenges of urban combat before we cover the breaching and clearing of rooms. Now, situational awareness is always important on the battlefield, and in case of
Yes.
urban warfare, this means being aware of both what is happening inside and outside of the structure. This is
Yes.
further complicated by the fact that a building can consist of multiple floors, each with multiple rooms, next to other structures that might be occupied by enemy forces or being.
Yes. And that's the thing, man. Like, see this. I mean, obviously, this is an issue because you don't know how many enemies are in this house, what's going on with it. But it's less, I guess you could say, of ability of an attack on you as you're coming up to it, and it's less defendable than versus obviously a larger fucking compound. Like, for example, let's say this is an apartment complex or an apartment building. That's a hell of a lot more of a fight than a damn house. Don't get me wrong, a house can be a fucked up fight, but I would rather clear a goddamn house than having to clear a goddamn apartment complex. You gotta figure they gotta hit that front door, they gotta charge in, clear that whole damn first floor, up the stairs, clear the second floor, up the stairs, clear the third floor. You know what I mean? And while all this is going on, there's probably guys outside pulling security and shit. There's a shit ton of windows that can just be fucking rapid, you know what I mean? Just raining hell down on it. It's a clusterfuck. It's a major clusterfuck. I'd rather have a house than a damn apartment complex.
Cleared by friendly units simultaneously. Besides that, the correct use of appropriate measures is also a major concern due to the small amount of space, the fragile nature of certain structures, and/or their inflammability. And of course, civilians combined with combatants and delayed combatants will make a proper friend or foe identification even more complicated. Now, the basic
Right.
unit used in the manual is the standard 4-man fire team. This team
Correct.
ideally has the following
What does it say? What the fuck does that say?
layout, whereas the number also determines who
Attack
goes first
helicopter,
and
if that is
shoots
your
with this
proper
video.
gender. Holy
Number 1,
shit.
the rifleman, usually equipped with an M4 carbine or M16. Number 2, the team leader, which has a similar layout to the rifleman and might be additionally equipped with a shotgun. Number 3, the grenadier,
Yeah,
equipped with an
I mean,
M16 or
I don't
M4
know.
rifle with an
My
attached
fucking TL
M200.
never fucking carried a goddamn shotgun around, but who knows? And yeah, you won't have a fucking 203. You'll have a 320.
3, 40mm grenade launcher. Number 4, the squad automatic weapon gunner, equipped with an M249 machine gun, also known as a SAW for squad.
I've never seen anybody use a damn holographic on the damn saw when I was in.
Automatic weapon. Note, the 2 4-man fire teams and a squad leader make up a standard US infantry squad according to Field Manual 3-21.8 from March
Yes,
2007.
just go ahead
Now
and
the
say
first
it. He did cover that correctly. That is what a traditional line unit fire team should look like.
step is entering a building and securing a foothold, which is the first room
Yes.
entered in this case. Here we face three potential threats: enemy outside of the building, enemy inside of the building, inside enemy's ability to engage friendly forces on the outside.
Yes.
Depending on these three
Everything
threats,
I
the
literally
entry
just talked about earlier. Yes, that's literally everything I just
point
talked
into the
about
building
earlier.
should be selected or created. If the threat level is high, ground floor windows and doors should be avoided. In this
Yes,
case,
they
it's
should
preferred
always be avoided, period. Even if there's a low threat, you should always avoid them. Especially when you're coming up on your breach point. It's best to not fucking pass by a window, excuse me, because say they see your silhouette or they hear you know what I mean? Just don't avoid a fucking window. Avoid a
able
window.
to enter from higher floors or breach holes for entry. Now let's look at room breaching and clearing. How a breach is best performed depends on multiple factors. What size, construction and materials is the structure made of? Because
Yes.
depending on this breaches with certain measures, explosive could actually destroy large parts or the complete building, set it
Yes.
afire, or generate too much dust that an immediate breach might be impossible to perform. Another question is, what kind of
Uh,
demolition equipment is available?
debatable.
Breaches can be performed with a foot, but also with explosive, even larger caliber guns. Of course, the presence of civilians also needs to be considered. Now to quote directly from the manual, with all breaching methods, if the enemy is suspected to be in the room or has actually fired from the room, throw a flashbang hand grenade into the room after the breach and before entry of the clearing team.
So I don't know how up to date. I mean, obviously this is from this 10 years ago. I don't know. Our SOPs were the old Geneva Convention SOPs of unless you know 100% that there was not a single civilian in that building, even though as fucked as it is. If a civilian is in a building and the enemy rushes into that said building and starts engaging friendly guys, friendly forces from that building, everyone in that building is, obviously to be treated as a combatant from that point until you do threat assessment on them. Um, Hence why you can't just go tossing, frag grenades into a room or a building or anything. As far as I'm tracking, that was at least our SOPs. It was no go. Unless we knew 110%, which even then you never know 110%, but unless we like knew like, hey, there is no fucking civilians in here, do not, then, excuse me, Jesus, if there are no fucking civilians whatsoever, and you know this, then, you can utilize a frag grenade. But if there is any possibility there's a fucking civilian in there, frag grenades are a no go.
It is noted if a fragmentation grenade is used instead that it may require several minutes for dust and debris to settle.
So with that, yes, it's gonna take a little bit for the dust and debris to settle, but you're not just gonna toss a fucking frag in and then say fuck it and wait for that dust to settle. I promise you, you're not supposed to. At least that was our SOPs. When that bitch goes off, whatever you threw in there, once that shit goes off, it's go time. You're through the fucking door. First dude goes left or right, whatever he decides, and then everybody else follows suit. So he goes right, okay, boom. Second guy goes left. Third guy goes right. Fourth guy fucking comes in, clears the fucking, does a little spin around, and he covers the fucking doorway.
Breach is performed by two teams, a breaching and a clearing team. Now there's a variety
Uh, that is ideal, but it doesn't make sense to me. Because if you're breaching something, I don't have the time. I wouldn't think I'd have the fucking time to wait on a fucking clearing team. I'm not gonna blow a door open or kick a door in and then say, okay, fuck it, guys, wait real quick while these guys bum rush in. Fuck no, dude. Point dude's kicking that shit in, or not point dude, excuse me. Fourth dude on the stack is kicking that motherfucker in, or third or fourth dude is kicking that motherfucker in, and then first and second dude and everybody else is charging in. There ain't no time to wait for a fucking clearing
variety
team.
of breaching methods. Mechanical, which can range from sledgehammers to crowbars, or even applying a hook to a door which is connected to a vehicle. Ballistic, which ranges from small arms fire to shotgun and rockets. In the manual, the shotgun receives a lot of attention, because it offers many advantages like ease of training, repetitive use, speed, and minimal collateral damage. Additionally, shotguns
Yes, but the SOP, as far as I'm tracking per the Geneva Convention, is you cannot utilize a shotgun on an enemy combatant. You can utilize it to blow the door open, but you cannot utilize it on an enemy combatant. As far as I'm tracking, I will have to check and see.
can be equipped with a
Then
breacher
again, for us, we had them, but we never utilized shotguns. We never brought them bitches out. They were just sat in the arms room.
that allows a proper escape of muscle gases, and thus the shotgun can be in direct contact with the target. Another ballistic option is the granite rifle entry munition, which allows breaches from distance between 15 to 40 meters. It is useful against wooden and metal doors, unless